I Erode is the second full-length album from Laceration. This is a death metal band from Santa Rosa, California, which is up in the North Bay, I believe. And basically, this is a pure death metal band. It is one that is better known for maybe their earlier work as a death thrash metal band, heavily influenced by, I don't know, Demolition Hammer, late 80s thrash metal, Malevolent Creation, and that kind of thing. And by the time they'd hit like 2018 and gone through many iterations of what they were working on, they eventually hit that point they wanted to, which was much more in like kind of the early 90s death metal style. A little bit of Suffocation in there, a little bit of Malevolent Creation at their heaviest. And that's kind of what they've been leaning into since then, with kind of a different drummer on every recording. But this follows up one of the best records of 2021, Demise. I loved that record. It was just flawless front to back. It was a little bit repetitive in what it was doing, but I loved all of it. So if you're a fan of that record and you're looking to see like if they fucked up I Erode, they didn't. It's a great record. It's a perfect follow up to it. It's a little bit cleaner in its statement. It's the production values have been amped up a little bit, and they have a different drummer who we'll get to talking about that in a minute. But let's just get to a song and you'll hear the results of them polishing up what they did on the last record and kind of rethinking a few things and just attacking the shit out of this one. So this record features an all-new rhythm section, and of course that's going to change a band like Laceration down to their bones, because really the tempo map of a band like this, who often touch upon the aggressive thrash-based songwriting of a band like Malevolent Creation and the more propulsive, unpredictable side of early Suffocation and Gorguts, we kind of get all those things at once from drummer Aaron Johnson, who's also in Vile Rights, who we'll talk about in a while for his other band, for the absolute skill that went into this record and the kind of the exciting performance here. I think the obvious comparison to make here is Skeletal Remains, right? They're kind of from a similar area. They came up with similar general influences, and they aim for a similar standard, which is the highest possible showing of exciting riff-based death metal that is brutal, but also has a sort of craft to its songwriting. They've got big solos all over this thing. They've got huge riffs in every song, and they've got a statement behind most of their songs that is impactful or just heavy and brutal as death metal should be. They really do have that 90s ideal nailed. And the cool thing about this band is they don't really lean in any one obvious direction. Like I could compare them to other bands, but they don't really just sound like Morbid Angel on one song and Suffocation the next. They kind of bring a lot of those things in, and it never really sounds fully aped from like one era or one specific band. They just generally hit upon thrashing death metal that is brutal at the same time, and it's this great parody where you can get all the riffs you want out of them, but you also get brutality at the same time, and it's always a little bit tuneful, but most of the time they're just giving you that beating, that punishment, and that aggressive side of things. And this time the production values are so hi-fi and so tuned in, there's no real flaw to lean back on that gives it character. So this is kind of on almost too clean of a record. There's no clicky drums, there's no funny snare sound, there's no weird hi-hat or whatever. It's all so dialed in, it's almost too perfect, it's almost too clean, and the short length of it doesn't really give you enough time to figure out what's weird about it or what's fucked up. You just kind of roll with it, and it's kind of a fast, aggressive record in that sense. It cuts through in a very classic way. So I appreciate that about it. It is a little bit squeaky clean, but I can't really fault them for that because they're improving upon Demise in most every way otherwise on this record. So I have a lot of enthusiasm for this band. I do think they're one of the best bands out of the United States these days, especially in terms of death metal and just general performance. And so for me, that's a very high recommendation. It is one of the best records of July, and I would say one of the best of the year in terms of pure death metal. If you're out there looking for riffs, fine production values that aren't too squeaky clean, and just one of the better riff craft examples of the year, you should probably check this one out. It was one of my favorites so far, and I think they've done a great job with this one. So check it out for yourself. It's been out for a while. It's released on July 26th, and you could read my review for more of my thoughts.